Hey everyone! So today we are diving deep into one of the biggest, wildest, and, let's be real, most nerve-wracking traditions in Taiwan's corporate world, the Weiya. It's the huge year-end banquet that's part celebration, part social gauntlet, and, always a story to tell.
So just think about it for a second, especially if you've ever worked in an office. What's that one thing at the end of the year that you're both excited for and maybe just a little bit terrified of? Yep, if that gigantic office party popped into your head, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Because the modern Weiya is this crazy cocktail of things, right? You've got those super long speeches from the boss, the unforgettable talent shows, and of course the incredibly tense prize raffles. And we can't forget the legendary chicken head and all the little social tests happening all night long. So where did all this organized chaos even come from?
All right, let's get into it. To really get what's going on with the modern party, we've got to go way back to its roots, and it all starts with that really unique name.
So Weiya literally translates to tail ya. And you might be wondering, what on earth is a ya? It's not a tooth, it's not a tongue. The answer, believe it or not, takes us all the way back to an ancient deal between merchants and a very important local god.
And that brings us to this idea of yaji. The best way to think about it is like a regularly scheduled afternoon tea. But instead of for you and me, it was for the earth god, the local deity in charge of good fortune. This is where the whole thing kicks off.
So picture this. Twice a month, like clockwork on the 2nd and 16th of the lunar calendar, business owners would put out this incredible feast of meat and fish as an offering. The deal was simple. Keep the earth god happy and your business will thrive. And this whole ritual was called yaji.
Now, here's where it gets kind of nerdy, and I love this part. The debate over that word ya. There are two big theories. One says ya comes from yaki, which was a special flag with an ivory tip they'd raised to start business for the day. So the ceremony was for the flag. The other theory is honestly a little less glamorous. It says ya was probably just a typo for the character hu, which meant trade. Either way, the name ya is what stuck.
So once you know about these twice monthly rituals, the naming suddenly makes perfect sense. The very first yaji of the Lunar New Year was called Tolya, which means head ya. And so, the very last one of the year? Well, that naturally became Weiya, the tail ya. And that's the party that evolved into what we know today.
And what's so fascinating is how the entire point of the event changed over time. It started as a purely religious thing, worshiping gods for good business. Then, during the Qing dynasty, it morphed into something much more practical. It was the day for making personnel changes. And now, in the modern world, it's all about rewarding people. You can really see how the relationship between bosses and employees has totally shifted.
Okay, now, speaking of those personnel changes, we have to talk about the most dramatic and, frankly, the most terrifying tradition in Weiya history. I'm talking about the chicken head. This wasn't just part of the meal. Oh no, it was a message.
And the message was brutally clear. Can you just imagine the tension in that room when the whole chicken is served? Because whoever that chicken head was pointed at, well, that was it. You were having your last supper with the company. It was literally the office death sentence.
Thankfully, things are a little less savage now. Back in the day, the boss would strategically aim that chicken head to deliver the bad news. But today, most bosses, not wanting to cause a mass panic attack, will point it at themselves or have the kitchen take it away before it even hits the table. That's what I call modern management.
But hey, it wasn't all doom, gloom, and getting fired. The Weiya table is also loaded with amazing dishes that are packed with hidden codes for wealth and good fortune.
Let's look at a couple of classics. First, you've got kuabao. This amazing steamed bun stuffed with pork belly is shaped just like an overstuffed wallet, symbolizing a year of wealth. It's also nicknamed Tiger Bites Pig, which means it eats up all the bad luck from the year. Then there's runbing, or the spring roll. It's shaped like an old-school rolled-up banknote, and it carries the wish to make your family prosperous.
Okay, so with all that history in our back pocket, let's get back to the modern Weiya, which, let's face it, can often feel less like a party and more like a social battlefield.
Yeah, the whole modern experience really comes down to these three things. First, the performance. Where engineers who've been practicing for weeks suddenly become a K-pop dance crew. Then there's the raffle. This is that magical moment where the entire company becomes one single unified organism, praying to the gods of luck for that grand prize. And finally, the toasting. It's a complicated dance of social hierarchy and respect, all done one tiny glass at a time.
And this really just perfectly captures the huge disconnect with the mandatory performances, doesn't it? The employee is thinking, why am I doing this to myself? While the boss is just seeing this beautiful, shining example of team spirit. It's all about perspective.
But look, after all the jokes about awkward dancing and the raffle anxiety, there is a really crucial point here. The core spirit of Weiya is still alive and well. It's moved on from pleasing gods and firing people to being about genuine gratitude. It's a reflection of a workplace that, at its best, really wants to say thank you for a year of hard work and look forward to a great year ahead.
So that kind of leaves us with one last question to chew on at your next office party. After all the history, the food, the performances, what is Weiya really about? Is it about gratitude and team bonding? Or is everybody just secretly, or not so secretly, there for the grand prize? I'll let you be the judge of that.